if it's not eaten with fat. So the question is sugar good or sugar bad? It's a blanket statement that sugar's bad in general. If you eat sugar from a Snickers bar or a Mars bar, the sugar's still good, but it's what the sugar's accompanied with is the issue. So we've got the sugar cane juice here. This is basically sugar. Almost, probably 99% calories coming from sugar. There's no real fat in here. There's no nasties in this. There's no animal protein, whatever. But what we do is we refine this right down, dry it out, and we've got the sugar crystals, and then we add it to bad stuff. You know? So it's a bit like knives aren't bad, but if you give a knife to an idiot, they can be dangerous. If you give sugar to a food corporation that adds a lot of bad stuff to it, the sugar becomes bad. But the sugar's never really bad, it's what it's associated with. So knives aren't bad, sugar isn't bad, it's what people do with the sugar.
What about white sugar?
White sugar's fine. I know you weren't here yesterday, but we had this discussion yesterday. That's fine, same questions all the time. White sugar's not an issue, it's what people add white sugar with. I sprinkle white sugar in my fruit smoothies. My mum's clinically obese, she might sprinkle, she doesn't sprinkle white sugar on anything. She says sugar's bad, but she'll eat ice cream, dairy ice cream. So when she has a white sugar, it's having with animal fat and protein. And dairy is full of naturally occurring hormones. Even organic dairy, over 80 active hormones. So my mum's obese. She says she's just big boned. She says it's just genetic, but it's just what she eats. So if refined sugar's fine, it's what it's associated with. That's why you see a lot of the meth addicts. Most people do heroin and meth to lose weight. They do it to lose weight. The main reason people do drugs is to lose weight. And what do they eat? Most meth addicts I know, it's just lollies, just like boiled candies, sweets, sugar, Coke, Fanta, lemonade. They get really skinny. But they're not healthy, obviously. But all the meth addicts I know, they stay away from fatty stuff unless they have a binge now and then because they don't want to put the weight on. So they're doing meth to lose weight and they gravitate towards the high sugar things because they know that makes them skinny, just lollies. I knew a guy who just ate carrots and lollies. That's pretty much all he ate for a long time. Occasionally he'd binge out and have a Big Mac, very, very rarely, but he's rail thin, just always eating lollies, probably 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day, just sugared up. He had no teeth, but that was mainly from the meth, being dehydrated and stuff. But so sugar's fine, it's what it's associated with. If sugar was fattening, I'd be obese because I do not do enough training to be this lean. And it's not genetics, my mum's obese. My older brother, Jason, he's about 95 kilos. And he does the calorie restriction thing. He's 95 kilos, so... And we have the same parents. It's not genetic, it's diet and lifestyle. Freely's the same. Freely used to be 73 kilos. Now she's like 50, 52. Eats a lot of sugar. So sugar's where it's at. Best sugar though is in your fruits. If your fruits aren't sweet enough for you, add some sugar in if you want. What's going to happen? You're going to notice more energy. You're going to notice more stamina. And you won't be like, I know people who eat fruit and I look at their fruit and I'm like, I wouldn't eat that. That's so tart. And then they're eating chocolate later on, or they're eating dairy ice cream or whatever. And they're like, oh, I'm just not disciplined. And so no, it's not you're not disciplined, it's you don't simply get enough simple sugars per day. So you gravitate to what you normally used to. So sugar's not the issue. The girl in Australia called I Quit Sugar, Sarah Wilson, she even admits she eats sugar. But she says, I've quit sugar for life, then a few paragraphs later goes, oh, I still have sugar now and then. And then she goes, sugar's not bad, it's fructose you have to look out for. It's like, why the fuck did you call your book I Quit Sugar? It should be I Quit Fructose. She says blueberries are insta-fat. Blueberries are insta-fat. So she's got a special little few paragraphs in my book coming out soon. I mean, like, blueberries are insta-fat. I'm just like, she's got no idea. But she's sort of come around a little bit because I see on Instagram, she's making more vegan dishes and that, and she does a few comments about me now and then. Calls me the banana devil or something. But she's basically, what happened with Sarah Wilson is she's like, put this really popular book in Australia called I Quit Sugar. It's basically a low carb book saying, bacon's good for you but don't eat too much, she says. So she's sort of, she says, bacon doesn't make anyone fat, but don't be silly with how much bacon you eat. A couple of slight bits of bacon's alright, So she brings them in but then tells them basically eat 1,000 calories a day. And just craziness. But now she's making more vegan recipes on Instagram and stuff like that. But basically she's works as an ambassador for the Meat and Livestock Australia Board. because meat in Australia, the sales are going down a bit, you know. People are going, oh, let's go more veggie. So the meat sales are going down a bit in Australia, especially the younger generation, especially the women who want to get slimmer. They go, I'm not going to eat like a 500-pound linebacker, I want to eat like a ballerina, high carb. So the meat sales are going down, so they employed Sarah Wilson, who's just, you know, she used to work for Cosmo as an editor or whatever, and she's a meat ambassador. So she's on TV now and then saying, yeah, eat your meat, whatever. But not many people know that. And then she put out a book, which is basically just a meat book. But when you read it with a conscious mind, you can just see the flaws and the contradictions. Bacon's good for you, don't eat too much, but stay away from blueberries, because they're insta-fat. Insanity. Insanity. So get your sugars as much as you want from fresh fruit. Fruits is the best. And that's why 100% long-term of fruit eaters are slim. Even if they have poor fitness levels, they're still slim. 100% long-term. Same with the rice diet. White sugar, rice, slim. Back in the day, they had the rice diet where they just have sugar and rice. It was fruit, sugar, and white rice. And people just getting so lean on it. It's just so low fat, so low protein, just slims you out long-term. Again, it's not a 60-day program. It's a lifestyle for life. It's like being in a relationship and saying to your wife or your husband, I'm going to be my best partner for 60 days. We're going to spend the rest of our life together, but for the next 60 days, I'm going to give everything. After that, it's all going to go to shit. As people do that diet, they're like, 60 days, I'll do the training and the diet, and after that, if it doesn't work, I'll just quit. It's crazy. Long-term results means long-term action. If you can't do the plan every day of your life, it's a fad. Next question.
I got a friend who's like Lisa, and she's vegan, but she was decided again to eat fish because of her. She was concerned of her iodine. Iodine, yeah. Because the doctor told her that she's not getting enough, something like this, because of her thyroid.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to convince her that she could get enough of it, the normal, with a high carb vegan diet, but yeah, I don't know what I should tell her.
It's hard to wake up people who want to be asleep, you know. Given it's 2014 and all the information out there about how bad fish is for you, the mercury and things like that, what do you do? I think Freely did a good video about fish. So maybe you can just say, hey, what do you think of this crazy banana girl? She did a video about fish. What do you think about it? So she'll either say, oh, the girl's stupid, and then you'll know where she stands. Or she might go, wow, I never thought about that. I might be able to skip the fish again. All you can do is just give people YouTube videos, give people books or websites, and just leave it with them. But in terms of eating fish, to get iodine by eating fish, that's like eating carbon fibre to get fibre in your diet. I mean, there's plenty of fibre in this bike, but it's not going to be good for me.
So
Iodine's found in all fruits and vegetables. All plant food has iodine. All plant foods have iodine. Seaweed even, maybe too much iodine. We need very, very little. The amount of iodine we need in our life is maybe a teaspoon. Very little. Very, very little. But eating, it's just crazy.
Why does Don Bennett think it's like an epidemic though? Like,
Don Bennett's a bit of a fruitcake, in my opinion. I mean, it's sort of like, yeah. Don Bennett's diet is so restrictive, and he likes to eat local. So if you're eating Don Bennett's restrictive local diet, and the soil in your area doesn't have enough iodine in it, that could be an issue. But on our diet, you're eating food from all around the world. You're eating rice, you're eating fruit, potatoes, vegetables, whatever you want to eat. But you're eating it from everywhere. So you're always going to get enough iodine. But if you're eating a real restrictive, I've got my backyard farm, that's all I eat, because that's what Don Bennett says is the best. But the soil doesn't have enough iodine in it, you're screwed. So Don Bennett's diet is just so restrictive that maybe on his program, iodine supplements might be a good idea. I don't recommend taking iodine because too much iodine can bust up your thyroid. Given we only need about a teaspoon in our whole life, you know, it's a pretty dangerous thing to have too much of it. I don't recommend taking it. I'd recommend changes of diet and lifestyle. Stress can reduce iodine. You know, deplete it and stuff like that. I've never met anyone that's had serious issues from iodine issues, unless they lived on a really restrictive diet of food they grew themselves, or they only ate local. That's why the local things is bollocks, really. Eat a wide variety of things. Support fruit farms all around the nation, all around the country, all around the world. Get variety in your diet. Not an issue. But what do you tell your friend? Just send her that fish video link. And ask her, what about mercury? Aren't you concerned about mercury? Say, you know, you're a friend of mine, I'm worried about how much mercury you're getting. Maybe next time you go to the doctor, get a doctor to check your mercury levels every month. See what happens. Because like, yeah, mercury's pretty full on. That's very, very high in the fish these days. Basically, the ocean is like, if you walked around Thailand, you can smell the smells and it's funky, you know, and the rains come and they wash it all off the streets. Where does it go? It goes all out to the ocean. So the ocean is basically like a big cesspool today. And the fish are living in that, just they're filters of all that cess. And where we eat them. So fish are like probably the worst thing to eat. Just like dirty. All the toxins in the planet end up in the ocean at one point. So we'll thrash the oceans. So what your friend could do is maybe raise goldfish in a fish tank in distilled water and put them in a smoothie. Omega-3 smoothie. If the doctor thinks fish is so natural, then that should be fine to do. I said that to a nutritionist once and they didn't get it. I said, what? I can put plants in a smoothie. Why can't I put goldfish in a smoothie? Oh, you're disgusting. Oh, well, you're saying I should eat it. If fish is so natural, I should be able to blend it and drink it. Who would like a fish smoothie? One time my friend did it though. He was blending up raw sardines. In a Vitamix, serious. Had a kilo of sardines, heads and all, just put them in. He's a raw paleo eater. He had some dental issues. He had low B12. So he's been eating raw animal products the last 10 years. His teeth have gotten worse. His B12 is still low, except now he does shots. But he's eating these sardines, these raw sardines. He put like a cup of lemon juice in there. The taste, he tasted it like, he's about to spew. So I put some lemon juice in there, blended it up. This is Clinton, and a good friend of mine, good guy. So he blends it up and he's eating them in the shop. This cat from nowhere walks in his shop, because he always keeps the back door open, there's a backyard out the back. So this cat walks in and he's eating it, and the cat sticks its head between through his arm and like sniffing the blender. It stunk so much the cat from outside came in, and Clinton just started burst out laughing, and he said he gave most of it to the cat. He said it tasted so foul he couldn't do it. So it's a good example. But the cat was just like, you know, a fish for a cat is like mangoes for us, you know, or watermelon or something juicy and, you know, something good. That's why fish stinks, you know. That's why if it's not a compliment if you say someone smells or tastes like fish. It's not a compliment at all. Because it's not instinctive. Question?
Oh, me? Oh.
Am I going to stay in Australia? Yeah, just come and go. Just travel around. Just travel around. I mean, that's a bit hard. We've got the little dog now, the little fur baby, but I can still travel. No, I'll just travel around, yeah. It's all good.
How'd you bring a dog here?
You can, yeah, someone said, why don't you just bring Figsy to Thailand? You can do that, but she's not going to be like in Australia. What happens, some people do the loophole where you bring your dog with you, but the dog cannot go from Australia to Thailand because of the rabies and that. So what you do is you take your dog to Malaysia, you put it in a kennel for 6 months quarantine, it's about $4 grand or whatever, and then you ship it to Australia, it stays in quarantine for 1 to 3 months. If they deem the dog safe, it's released. If not, they put it down, or you have to put it back to Asia. So someone said the other day, you know, just bring Figsy, like, you know, like, I think there's someone from the US. They just assume that the laws in the US are the same for everywhere because a lot of people don't travel. Some of my friends in Australia are like, oh, it's Australia, mate, you know, like, it's how the world is, isn't it? So I travel a bit. So one person said, just put Figsy under the seat. Like, she doesn't take up much space. And they were serious, you know. Another person said, freely you're lying. I fly dogs from California to Las Vegas for a shelter system. And you can do it. She said, no, freely, you are wrong. I fly dogs regularly from the shoulder. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's cool. It's in the US. It's domestic. This is international. Australia has the highest biosecurity laws on the planet. You know, Australia is the hardest country to bring things into.
You can't even take bananas into South Australia, can you? I had some in the tongue to get rid of them.
You can't bring fruit into South Australia. They'll go throw it out. It has to be like dipped or quarantined or checked or whatever. But I just bring it in. You know, like I did a bike ride in April. I did 568 kilometres where I rode this bike 24 hours, no sleep, no drugs, no caffeine. And I rode from South Australia to Victoria, which is the next state. I rode out of the state, turned around the side and came back in. And I had to go past quarantine. And I had my bag full of dates and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not stopping. So I turned my lights off. It was about 9 o'clock at night, just rode straight through, and the guy goes, hey! Hey! And I'm like, I'm not stopping, I just kept riding. But he would have just thought, what's going on? And then he just let him go. So I'm not going to stop and give my dates away just because some quarantine law. The irony is that fruit flies wouldn't even survive in our state. But what happens is the chemical companies, they're making so much money by dipping everything. That's just like it's just a monopoly. So they're like, yep, fruit flies couldn't live in South Australia, numbers that would cause an impact, but we're making so much money dipping all the fruit, it's fine. It's a great state to live in, it's a beautiful state. I love living in Adelaide, it's awesome.
So how do you explain that, so I read a comment of you on YouTube which said that you actually find that greens are overrated.
Yeah.
So how would you explain, because that is like the raw food thing, like you can't do without greens, it's so important.
I'm not saying you don't need to eat greens, I still eat greens, but a lot of people put importance on greens. I say greens, 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 I live on greens. So people fill up on greens but don't get any calories, and then they do a raw food diet for a week and go, that didn't work. Or they do it for a bit longer and they're just binging out every weekend on Big Macs or whatever. So greens are part of the diet, celery, lettuce, things like that, but they're not as important as carbohydrates are, because that's where you get your energy from. So you need to have your fuel, and then the greens give you a bit extra freshness, because a lot of the fruit's picked green or whatever. But the greens are, they're picked more freshly, because greens, they don't ripen, they're just ready as it is. But fruit, you pick it a month later, ripen it up, or in Thailand it's maybe a week or so. So greens can give that freshness that you might not otherwise have if your diet is, unpicked fruit, etc. So I think greens are fantastic, but don't fill up on greens thinking that you will get your sustenance, because you won't.
Yeah, would you say you can do without greens? Like you can get, what's in the greens you can get by other vegetables and roots?
Just that freshness element. If all your diet is rice and fruit that's been chipped in and it's not that perfectly ripe, so you won't maybe get enough vitamin C as much as you could have if you had some greens in there. So I think adding some greens is good. Maybe green smoothies, that's a good way to do it. I don't recommend eating the little bitter greens. I think that's more of a fad in the health world. It's like wheatgrass. It's like, drink this, put some hairs in your chest. I used to drink wheatgrass. Every time I had it, I was just like, and then I did have a bit of lemon or orange afterwards. So I think greens are good. Choose the lettuce, celery, and eat them as much as you want, but make sure you get carbs in as well. Otherwise you'll fill up and you'll be like, I'm full of salad, but I've got no energy. I'm full, but I've got no energy.
Yeah. So how often do you eat greens?
In Thailand, almost every day when I go to the restaurant. There's normally some greens in the salad there, put it on the rice, mix it in. What's that? Childhood nutrition. Is that the question?
Yeah.
If I had kids, what would I feed them? I'd feed them the same as what I eat. What's that? Well, they won't eat. Simple as that. The thing is, this is what I would do. I can't tell you what they should do. This is what I would do as a parent. Like, well, there's the food. It's always there for you. If I was a parent, I'd have abundant food everywhere. I'd have all the fruit there is. Boom. Vegetables, and let the kids eat when they want. Always have it there. It wouldn't be any meal time, just be theirs. Or it'd be maybe first you have to have your litre of water, or 500 mils, depending on how old the kid is. You got to have your water first, and then you can have your fruits. and just have it like that. And if they don't want to eat it, then they're not hungry. And that's fine. That's what I would do. But I know when I was a kid, my mum would try and make me eat healthy foods, and she couldn't cook, and it tastes like crap. And I want Big Macs, I want chocolate, I want pizza, because I had a taste of it, and that was good calories. My mum's food was like low-calorie stuff. So my body's going, don't eat this is death. There's no calories here. Eat that 1,000-calorie Big Mac you had on your birthday party. That's what you want. That'll give you energy. So my body attached direction and drive towards the things that gave me calories. My mum's cooking represented starvation because it wasn't enough calories, it wasn't calorie dense, and I didn't like it. So I only ate a little bit, and it wasn't enjoyable. So I always had cravings my whole childhood, So it's important to give kids that heads up on nutrition, and you can't cave into it because my mum caved into it. So the more my mum caved in to my demands, the more my body craved that food because I understood that's where the calories come from. So I would do the tantrums in the supermarket. I want the chocolate, I want a Snickers bar, and I want all that stuff, and she would give in. Not all the time, but most of the time. So that's what my body always craved, the high-calorie junk foods. It's not because they're addictive, it's just because they gave me the most calories, and our bodies are driven towards high-calorie things as survival. Yeah. And then when I went vegan, I cut those things out of my life. So instantly my calorie intake's going down and my nutrition's going up. And I'm getting enough calories for my lifestyle. So my tip for parents is you've got to be hardcore and just say, look, you don't eat. But then again, then the government can step in. I remember the Botenko family. Who's heard of the Botenkos? It's like a raw food family, vegan family back in the day. They're not anymore, but when they were doing it, one day in the US, what do they call it? Child welfare? Child protection services came knocking on the door and said, Miss Botenko, I heard you feed your kids just raw food. And she's like, oh, I need to speak to children now. So Sergey's probably 12 years old. He's pretty smart. And the officer said, do you eat just raw food? And he said, no, Mum took us to McDonald's last night. They're like, all right. Okay. Thanks for your time. And left. It's a true story. It's so true. So that's what we're dealing with. So if I had children, I wouldn't tell anyone really what they ate. Because they're not going to come knocking on the door. In order to educate the kid, as soon as the person with the shirt came on, get the empty Big Mac container I found on the street, bring it to the door, and say, Dad, can I get another one of these? Dad, are we going to Macca's again tonight? I want to eat 4 Big Macs. And the officer go, no worries, sorry, waste your time. Have a good day. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? So if you're going to have kids, in my opinion, keep the diet private. Because your parents are probably going to freak out, your friends are going to freak out, the government's going to freak out. Be careful what you say. Just say, oh, I feed them lots of plant foods, but yeah, they eat, we've got a pet cat, and every few weeks the kids eat the cat. It's alright. Cat's a traditional food in Asia. Basically, that's what I tell people is have a pet cat, rat or dog. And if the kids get really hungry, if they get deficient, they'll eat the cat, rat or dog. Just have it there, say to the kids, this is a knife. When you want to eat a doggy, that's what you do. Just the kids are looking at you like, I don't do that. But that's what you do. As a responsible parent, don't limit your kids' nutrition options. Have a pet, cat, rat or dog in the house at all times. That way if the kids need it, boom, you've done your role as a parent, responsible parent. Don't push your vegan values on your kids. Always have some raw animal. It's local, it's humanely raised, it's had a good life. It's a traditional diet for many people around the world. Not a worries. And then you're sorted. Then you have to worry about it. If the kids are hungry enough, they'll eat it. Otherwise, they'll just stick to the plants. We'll always have the pet in the house. Chihuahuas are good because they can't run that fast. So how do you find balance in your life when you feel a bit imbalanced? I always feel balanced because I've been doing this lifestyle so long now. I don't see it as a diet, I see it more as a lifestyle. And when something becomes a lifestyle, then it's easy to balance. It's like a bicycle. If you're just walking down the street holding the front wheel, your arms sort of get tired. You're holding this front wheel, but if you've got the bicycle, the pedals, you've got that balance out of lifestyle. It's not just your diet, it's the way you think, the way you stand, what clothes you wear, how you interact with people. It becomes like this whole bicycle, this whole wheel, of life. So I find that's easy. When people just, like I'm guilty. I used to focus just on diet. I'll be up at 3 a.m. reading books, wouldn't do any sport, just diet, reading, and that was cool, but it made me out of balance. Because then my fitness went down, I wasn't sleeping enough, I wasn't having enough social interaction. So everything serves a purpose, but to have balance, it takes trial and error. That's what the first thing I tell people when I see them really focusing on food, I go, that's good, you know enough about food, but what other areas in your life can you do better in? That's why I didn't have children, because I know my life is not to have children. I had a vasectomy when I was like 25, 26, because I knew that having children in my life, for me, I'm not saying for anyone else, but for me, it wouldn't work for me. I knew that from an early age, so I'm like, snip it. So I find if I had children, I would get the fur baby Figsy, but, it's not like having a child. Because children, if we had Figsy here, Figsy just sniff around the park, comes back to you, but when you've got children, you've got to educate them, and it's just, having children is the biggest responsibility on the planet, and I knew that that's not for me. My life is about helping people help themselves get fit and healthy, and at the same time we save the animals on the planet. That's what I do, that's my life purpose. So I knew that early on, so I'm like, how can I align my goals? What do I have to do to accomplish that? For me it was no children, no 9-to-5 job, no TV, things that were just taking up too much time in my life. So I always feel in balance because I know how to get enough water, I know how to get enough sleep, I know how to get enough carbohydrates, I know how to train, not too much, not too little. But sometimes you have to make mistakes, sometimes you have to go too far to find out how far you can really go. Sometimes you have to screw the nut a little bit harder, and then when it snaps, you're like, oh, too far. Yeah, but unless you don't screw that nut too hard, you'll never find out how hard you can really go. So I've done a lot of trial and error, made a lot of mistakes, snapped a lot of nuts, snapped a lot of bolts, and I've learned from a lot of other people's mistakes as well, which I encourage people to do. You don't always have to make your own mistakes. You don't have to own it to learn it. You can learn from other people. Like the guy who died yesterday. I know that I'm always going to wear a helmet when I'm riding around. And he was on a motorbike, he's probably speeding, but life's precious and short, so I learned yesterday from that guy's death that avoid taking crazy risks, So you can learn from other people's mistakes. But the sleep, water, sugar, that's why I harp on about so much, because that's the fundamental. When you get dehydrated, you're out of balance straight away. When you don't get enough sleep, you're out of balance straight away. When you don't get enough carbohydrates, you're out of balance. That's the most three fundamental things. That's everything. I can be the most positive person, but you get me dehydrated, I don't talk to anyone here. I'm like, I've got to go, I've got to get some water. But if I didn't know that, I'd just be like, you guys are a bunch of idiots, And then tomorrow I go, sorry for being like that, I don't know what's going on with me. It's getting all emotional. Maybe it's my chakra's out of balance. And so I go, yeah, you come to my course, be $800 for a day, we'll get your chakras realigned. Water? No, you don't need water. Get that from fruit. So that's why I say sleep, water, sugar. Learn about those things. Drink enough water so you're peeing clear every 2 or 3 hours. Eat enough carbohydrates. 10 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight per day. 5 grams of carbs per pound of body weight per day. As a baseline minimum, to start with that and see how you feel. Keep your fat as low as possible, under 30 grams a day. Be a bit more clear in the head. Sleep. Get to bed as early as possible. 8, 9, 10 p.m. If you can't sleep, just put an eye mask on, lay on your back and relax. Think about grateful things. And then we've got those things worked out, you're a lot better. Like if me and Freely have an argument, we basically say, hang on, is one of us undercarbed or not enough water? What time did you go to bed last night? There you go. So I can pretty much tell on the phone after a couple of seconds talking with Freely what's going on. She went to bed too late, or she hadn't eaten enough, or she was going to go for a bike ride, now it's 12 noon, and she's like on the internet still, and her posture's like this for 5 hours. You're not going to feel good. Or if you're walking around town, you've got a handbag on, and it's a bit hot, and you're just like, you're really on edge. You're out of balance. Then you just drop the handbag, put the shoulders on. Backpacks create balance. Handbags make you out of balance. Low carb diets make you out of balance. High fat diet makes you out of balance. Dehydration tweaks you out. So how to find balance when you're out of balance is just focus on your sleep, water, sugar. How's that your fundamental? And then go from there. I see it all the time in the yogi scene or the spiritual scene. Don't eat too much food, you know. Is Peter here? Peter? He's not here. Pete was here yesterday and he was saying that, you know, I'm not sure about Harley, it's too much food. But I'm like, you know, you won't get much done in life if you think you're eating too much carbohydrate. Because it's like going, the grass is too green. It's just too green. You know, and that's the whole, you walk around and you go, look, the grass is too green. It's not working. The sky's too, you know, you know, you're trying to fight nature. You're always going to be like just in a psychosis. Just carb up. And go from there. Lance.
What do you feed Figsy?
What do we feed Figsy? We fed her a 100% vegan diet for a while. She lost so much weight, her hair started to fall out. She's like an anorexic dog. Her appetite is like very fussy. We had Percy as well, the min pin, he would eat anything. He was on a vegan diet, thriving, put on weight. He was very skinny when we got him, very like, if we got him from the rescue centre, very skinny for a min pin. And we put him on a vegan diet, boom, no worries. Figsy, vegan diet wasn't working for her. So I started dumpster diving from a local butcher. They throw out heaps of scraps every night, just getting it from them, you know. And Figsy put weight on, fur comes back, no worries. So we don't feed her a 100% vegan diet. We feed a lot of vegan foods, but I do get meat from the bin for her. She loves it. And it's just funny watching the dog eat meat from the bin, you know. They just licking the lips, you know. But people say, the nutritionists say you should eat meat. I'm like, okay, when I go dumpster diving with Figsy, you come with me. And let's see if you lick your lips like Figsy does. You know? I'm like, got my gloves on, I'm picking up. Oh, I used to be a fisherman full on, you know, so I don't mind too much picking stuff up. And I'm like, this is like a dead body in my hand. I feel like I'm killing someone or something. Found a dead body, forensics. Yeah, CSI, and I put it in a plastic bag. And we have a special fork for it. We serve her up. But she loves it. She loves the meat. And dogs are meat eaters. Some dogs do well on a vegan diet. I think that, you know, I don't want to spend money on that industry. So, but I understand at the same time dogs eat a vegan meat diet, but there's plenty of ways to get free meat without supporting the industry financially, and that would be it's going to landfill. I'm going to give it to my dogs. So yeah. The question was, I used to see a lot of Big Macs and you'd be a fisherman, what made me go into health? I guess I always liked animals, but always, like everyone else, you have to eat meat. That's good if you've got an animal as a friend, but we're at the top of the food chain. We didn't get to where we were today eating plants. You have to kill animals. You can be friends with them, but as long as you eat a couple, that's all right. And so I go fishing, but I always felt when I go fishing, I catch a big fish, big barramundi or whatever, and some part of me always felt bad when I'd kill them or they'd be flipping in the bucket, and I'm like, oh, I just wanted to kill the fish straight away so I wouldn't suffer. But I think I'm killing this fish, it didn't want to be here. So I did that for many, many years. I go fishing every day after school, spent all my pocket money on fishing lines and fishing lures and everything. I was fishing obsessed. I'd win fishing competitions even. The first competition in my life I ever won was a fishing competition. And I was just like fishing mad. And then even as a vegan for the first few years, I still go fishing. Still lures, just let them go. But then I worked out I'm still hurting the fish, I can't do it anymore. So I'd still go fishing today without hooks. You know, throw some lures out with no hooks and just tease the trout a bit, but with no hooks, just to watch them hit the lure. But so I just sort of started listening to my heart. I thought, this is wrong, you know. It's because I could eat a Big Mac now and then, it wouldn't hurt me maybe, but it's just wrong to do, so I don't do it. And then, like last night, we had the Ming Quan restaurant. I'm eating this like tofu mushroom. I think it's mushroom, but it's like texture like a meat. I knew it wasn't meat because it's a vegan restaurant. But I'm just eating this. Going, this is meat. Why the heck are we eating animals in 2014? And then someone posted on the Facebook group, I think I ate meat last night at the restaurant. They said it was made out of mushroom, but it tasted like meat. It looked like meat. It smelled like meat. It was meat. I said, no, it wasn't meat. It was mushroom, you know. But they're still like going, I'm not sure, it was meat. And that's the meat. Well, why are we eating animals when we can eat mushroom? So. Yeah. It'll catch up to them. Yeah, it'll catch up to them. Why are people skinny who still eat meat? It'll catch up with them at some point. I had a friend in 2004, as lean as me. Actually, he was leaner than me. He had he's more vascular, more veins. Lean guy. And now he's about 120, 130 kilos. And it's not muscle. So now he's obese. He used to be as lean as me. And he'd eat meat pies. He goes, Harley, you know, you're pretty lean, but you get to miss out on the meat pie. And he'd like wave his meat pie at me now and then. Now he's obese. And now the look in his eye when he sees me, I don't have to say nothing, you know. So many of my cycling friends I used to race with, lean guys, lean, very lean, now obese, or 30 kilos over. And when you used to be really lean and fit, and now you're 30 kilos over, it's just for, you know, especially for guys, hard to deal with. But things catch up with people. Yeah, I'd say 90% of the cyclists I've trained with 10 years ago, 90% of them don't ride today, and at least 20 kilos overweight, because their diet wasn't sustainable. So you can get skinny and lean on calorie restriction, no worries. But you don't see what happens in the future to people. Catches up with them always. It's a good thing about when people get in this lifestyle, the calorie restriction, they get on this lifestyle, they're going to gain some weight, but it's going to hit a ceiling. But if they were on the standard Aussie diet or whatever, paleo diet, the ceiling just keeps going, and that's how you get to 200 kilos. Nobody gets to 200 kilos in this lifestyle. It's impossible. You might go up, hit a ceiling, but you're going to go back down over time, like Freely did. If Freely was on this lifestyle, when she's on a rebound, it just keeps going and going and going. It's going and going and going. She'd be like probably 100 kilos now, 90 kilos. Now she's like 52 odd, but a healthy 52. Got stamina, got energy. Not a 52, I've got to have 10 cups of coffee a day, I can't eat, got to smoke, I don't want to do... she's emotionally strong, 52 kilos. That's another thing. People might be 52 kilos or a body mass index of 19, but they're emotionally strong at that point. You know, I've got plenty of friends, they're lean, but you've got to sort of walk on pictures around them, because they're like about to freak out anytime. A lot of my raw food friends, they're eating pure raw food diet, which is good, but they're not getting enough calories, and they're just like on edge all the time. You see a lot of people on YouTube, they're just very, very touchy. Very touchy. Would I ever consider becoming a member of Parliament?
Yeah,
I just do YouTube. I really struggle dealing with bullshit. That's the main reason we got out of the Woodstock Fruit Festival. It became too corporate, too political. The Board of Governors got introduced. If I was invited, I wouldn't do it, because it's just too much bureaucracy. And I can reach more people on YouTube.
That's your day job.
Yeah.
You say you don't want a day job?
Well, I do a day job. I'd lie. I do a day job, but I wouldn't do it because for me, YouTube, I want to appeal to the young generation. No member of Parliament can save Australia. Politicians have no power. The corporations have power. Politicians are basically puppets that work for the corporations. You make this law, we'll give you some money. Okay, you know. So what I do is with YouTube is appeal to people's pockets, get them spending money, because every dollar we spend is a vote for what we believe in. Yeah, we can talk about veganism in Chiang Mai, whatever, but unless people put the money on the table, buy the vegan food, buy the fruit, that doesn't mean nothing, really. So I'd rather appeal to people than via YouTube or social media versus being in Parliament, trying to push, that doesn't get nothing done, really, in my opinion. But there's people out there who are doing a great job at Parliament, serves a purpose, but that's not for me. For me, it's YouTube, being out there online. And my book, that's what I'm focusing on now, get my book done. Very close, just proofreading it now. So I'm not a politically correct person. I can't handle bureaucracy at all. Struggle. And politicians about bureaucracy, about keeping quiet. Can't do that for very long.
When do you think your book is ready?
It's a good question. I could be working on it now, but I'd rather spend time talking to people in between talks. So maybe after the festival. I was saying before, but we'll see. It's pretty much done. I was proofreading it, formatting it in chapters and stuff. Start with paper, ebook for starters, and then print eventually. It'll be too controversial for Amazon. I'm pretty sure it will. I'm pretty sure you can't sell this book on Amazon. I'm pretty sure you couldn't.
So it's not going to be New York Times bestseller then?
Not like I said it was, no.
Oh.
Unless some laws change and it gets on there. Well, I think now the goal's been shifted to become like an underground bestseller, a bit of a cult book that is too risky for the mainstream thing. That's what I'm assuming. That's the goal.
Please don't ever become a politician, first of all. And I know you probably covered it before. How did you find 80-10-10 as you talked about going through, being a fisherman and that type of stuff? And how did you find that and Doug Graham and transition into that? I mean, I'm fortunate to have YouTube and social media that's, to find you guys. And then I know you probably covered it as well. Then why'd you guys split or what happened? I mean, is there
How did I find Doug? I went vegan in 2001, and in 2002, 2001 I read a book called Fit for Life, talking about how good fruit is. I'm like, fruit's good, I'm going to eat fruit. So I started eating fruit for breakfast and lunch, sort of RawTill4 style. And then after a year eating fruit, my grandma gave me a book for Christmas or whatever. I didn't really like it, so I took it back to the bookshop to exchange it. And the lady gives me a credit, and I'm walking through the self-development title books, and I see someone on raw food. I thought, oh, raw food, yeah, I've heard of that. So the book was called Raw Life by Paul Neeson. I picked it up, read a bit, I'll get that. So I got that book, went home, read it in like a day or so, and I had an interview with Doug in there. And I thought it's a great interview. And so I just looked up Doug on his website. We corresponded, he answered all my questions for free back then. Different person than what he is now. And so we started our friendship back in 2004. And after 10 years, it sort of went a bit sour. Doug changed a lot, became more money focused, a bit more fame hungry, super competitive, out of balance, cutthroat as fuck, and just went downhill from there. But that's how I found him, because I was already in the vegan lifestyle. I loved eating fruit, and then after reading 80-10 in 2006, I became a little bit of a proofreader for that book. Doug gave me a copy before it was released. I was like, this is a great book, it's going to help a lot of people. And went from there. And I went to all Doug's retreats, Costa Rica, US, good times. And then when Woodstock Fruit Festival come on, Doug was getting paid like a lot of money, like 20, 30 grand, or even 50 grand at one point to be a talker. This has come from Mike Arnstein. And then to cut costs for 2014, Mike wanted to reduce how much he's paying Doug and do a sponsorship system that people get to select who they're going to give their $100 to. And so myself and Freddie would always be the top most sponsored people. So basically it's come down to numbers. Doug's like, well, Freddie and Durianrider don't deserve to be getting money for this event because they're not as pure as we are, so let's get them off. Get off that with the money roll. And we didn't care about the money, it was just a principle. And then I said to Doug, did you vote me off? He says, no, I didn't. I said to Ann Osborne, did you vote me off? She said, I didn't. I said to Christine, did you vote me off? She says, I didn't vote for you. I just let you get kicked, So I quickly learned out who my friends were, and Mike Arnstein basically told me, he gave me warning, heads up, said they want you off, they don't like you, Harley, they're not your friends, they don't give a fuck about you. And it sort of hurt, it hurt a lot, but it's life, it's no biggie, just keep on rolling, learn from experiences, and yeah. So then now we're putting energy into promoting ourselves more and our message, and just sort of doing these sort of events where it's just no really money involved, no worries. Keeping it just sort of more authentic, I'm talking here today not because you're paying me, because I want to help you. I want to help you help yourselves.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Cool. And that's what our form's always been like, 30 pounds a day. It's just so active. It's such a it's the most active vegan forum and raw foods forum ever, because it's just it's a community. That's what I love today. Like people not many people turn up to my talks now, which is fantastic, because it means people are talking with each other. Like Durianrider, I've heard of this crap before, it's on YouTube. Let's go for a picnic or something, you know? So it's fantastic, that's really good. Love it.
Do you ever go through any major detoxes or any single ones?
Did I ever go for any major detoxes? No, I didn't. Even when I gave up drugs, I didn't. But I went through a lot of tox. I'd eat too many cashew nuts, you know? Or too much almond butter. Or not enough bananas or whatever. Or not enough water. And I'd be like, oh, I feel sick. I'm just detox. Oh, hang on, no, it's not. I just ate a 2-pound bag of cashews in 2 hours, which I did, you know? So, because I wasn't getting enough carbohydrates. I was just so hungry. I'm like, I will be raw. Anything raw is okay, you know? Cashews, yeah, I'll eat them. But they weren't even freaking raw anyway. I was paying $60 a kilo for cashews that are cooked anyway. Dave Wolf was just like, yeah, raw cashews. Bank balance is going up. They're sold for like 50 cents a kilo in Indonesia, sold for $60 a kilo. For suckers like me back in the day. So no major detox. I don't really believe much in detox as much as I believe in tox. People don't drink enough water, or they don't eat enough fruit, and they're getting all spaced out, or they eat too much fat, or they don't do enough sport. They're not eating well, but they're just like so sedentary. They're on the computer all the time. You feel all like you're flipping out. You need to move the body. So I didn't have any real detox. I don't really believe in it that much. I believe it's more too many late nights, not enough water, not enough carbohydrates, or too much fat, or not enough sport.
How are you going to make sure, because you're getting really big now with you and Free, you know, Free's in the papers a lot. How are you going to make sure you don't go down the same route?
Don't sell out?
Yeah.
We're just not money driven. I mean, money's good in that, but like, you know, like if I was, like I said the other day, if I was a billionaire, I was to be doing the same things tomorrow. If I was on welfare, I'd be doing the same things tomorrow.
What happens if a YouTube channel, something goes wrong with that?
Well, it did last year, got deleted.
Yeah.
And I was a guy at the time, he said,
Hey ho.
you know, I met a guy, I was out for a bike ride, I bumped into a friend, and he says, what are you up to? I said, I was going for a spin. He goes, yeah, it's probably a good way to deal with it. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you don't know. And I thought, well, what do you mean? You know? He goes, your YouTube channel's got deleted. I was like, what? What? He goes, yeah, your main account's gone. I was like, wow. Oh. I had 27 million views at that point. I was like, you know, so I went home, checked, boom, deleted. No notice. And I was like, whoa, where do we go from here? You know? And then I think I watched the Katy Perry doc on YouTube for some reason. I think Freely had it. So I'm watching the Katy Perry story about how she just busted her hump for 10 years, you know, to get somewhere, her career or whatever. And I thought, oh, that's a pretty inspirational story, you know. And I thought, well, I've lost my YouTube account, big deal. Big deal. You know, I've got a bit of a following on social media, let's start again. So that night I started like 9 more channels. You started working at it, bang up the vids, and then 2 weeks later my YouTube channel got reinstated for no real reason. So I could lose it today, it wouldn't bother me very long. It'd be a big financial loss, but it's no biggie. I don't have any debt, I don't have any kids, I'm used to living on the street. I can live on welfare, whatever, you know. But I've got the skills now where I can rebuild things. It's a bit like if you got all the money in the world and put it on all the planes and dropped it, you know, all the money in the world, every single dollar, and put it in all the Airbuses, 1,000 Airbuses, and just dropped it around the planet, in 10 years' time, people with the money would have it again. Because if you don't know how to manage money, it quickly goes. It's the same with social media. I could give someone someone from YouTube could create a superstar on YouTube, but if they don't know how to handle that level of attention, they'll quickly lose it. So I know how to build social empire. I know how to build social media presence. So if I lose everything, I can start from scratch. Obviously, it's a bit of a loss of momentum, but it's like a bicycle. I know how to get a good bike for cheap, because I work in the bike industry. So it's the skills you learn.
How?
It's fine. What's that?
How?
How what?
To get a good bike cheap.
When you're friends with surgeons, and they don't ride their bike much, they've got so much money, they're working so hard, they've got more money than time, they see a nice bike, they buy it, but they don't ride it. You know? And the bike's pretty much brand new. And you buy a $7,000 bike for $1,000.
Make friends with surgeons.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So but you don't need a $7,000 bike. $1,000 bike brand new is enough. But that's what I mean. It's sort of like, how do you not sell out from the get-go, my goal, my life purpose is to help people help themselves, get fit and healthy, and at the same time we save the animals on the planet. So I tell people, you've got to have a goal in life, you've got to have direction. If you don't have that, it's easy to sell out. It's easy to get, whoa, tempted, you know, by money or whatever. So you've got to have that goal. What do I want to do? If I was a billionaire today, what is my goal? You know? I'd probably buy a Lamborghini and fill it full of bananas. I would do that. But I wouldn't buy a Lamborghini to say, look at me. It would be more of a tool to spread the word. And I love living the frugal lifestyle, the basic lifestyle. And we could make so much money selling people supplements and crazy crap. Really could sell little rice powder pills with echinacea extract and go, look how slim I got. You know, I'm eating pizza, but I'll take these pills, it works. We could sell so much. We could literally be millionaires selling supplements. We get invitations all the time. I could do a YouTube video. Look, I've ridden 600 kilometers today. That's all it took. This is like antioxidant extract, superpower. So I could be a David Wolf in the fitness world. Make so much money. But I wouldn't do it because I'd be lying to people. I'd be like ripping them off. I could do it though.
What about things like bike sponsorships?
Bike companies now come to me and say, look, we want you to ride our bike. But before they didn't want to know about me. Well, great, when I was struggling, you didn't give an F about me. Now I can buy any of your bikes any day of the week. You want to give me one for free. That's how it works. You know, when you're struggling to feed yourself, no one gives a crap. I don't want to be sponsored by bike companies because it means I'm locked into their product. So when I advise a product like a Garmin or a giant bike or a bag like this, it's because I've bought it. You know, I'll review products. If someone says, we'll throw you a bike for a month, tell us what you think. I'll say, okay, I'll review it for you, but I don't want to be sponsored and locked down. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but people come from me for independent reviews, I'll give it to them. And I'm always transparent with my reviews on YouTube. I buy my Garmins, I don't give me them. I buy them. It's a tax write-off. Yeah. Swear too much. Yeah. Yeah. What would the video be about? What would the title be? That's why I swear so much, because those kids love that stuff. But I understand as a teacher you can't promote that. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah, I understand. I was saying maybe you could reframe it and maybe it could be like a study like, I know this guy called Gary Yourofsky. Yeah. 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 I find. Oh yeah. I think the thing is, I understand where you're coming from. The kids, high school kids, I've got a few high school kid friends I cycle with, and I say to those kids, "What do you love about my channel?" And they go, "We love it. You swear so much." But I understand that those kids will find me if they're looking for me, and I appreciate your support and that you want to promote me with your students. I would just say, you could just type in. You could say to the kids, you could type in vegan and cycling, or maybe it could be a class project. Is swearing good? I don't know. Is swearing appropriate on social media? And maybe you could use me as an example. Is this guy crazy? Is this appropriate? Maybe that's breaking the rules as a teacher. I don't know.
I follow another guy who is playing video games and he's softness he does, and people love him.
Yeah.
And he's not cycling. He's playing video games and entertaining, documenting what he is doing.
Yeah.
And he has
I just send them to Freely, because Freely doesn't swear that much. Yeah.
It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
It's just video games. It's nothing much. I follow her too.
Maybe you could send them to Freely's channel, because she doesn't swear very much, you know? And then they'll find me through her. Yeah, but they'll be watching her to be like, bikini girl. And then eventually they'll pick it. Yeah. Eventually they'll find, if they're interested, they'll keep watching her and then they'll find me through her. You know? Yeah. Because they might watch a channel of me and go, I've got 10 seconds or 3 seconds to basically put an imprint in a teenage boy's mind. It's either going to be sex, violence, or violence, or computer games.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You know, or I can talk about, hey, this is like high in vitamin C, boring, violence, street fight, gangbang. Yeah. I understand that. Just promote freely. That'd be better. Because if I do a video like that, they'll find it boring. But if they find my channel and I'm swearing heaps, they find it for themselves. They go, this guy's he's a bit crazy. You know. That's why I swear a lot, because I'm trying to inspire the younger kids. Yeah. Yeah, no, cool. But I hear where you're coming from. It's frustrating, isn't it, trying to help the kids but not get in trouble. Yes. Well, you're female, you know, and yeah, mother figure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I've got some videos coming up like that. I do. I can do that. Cool.
I was wondering if you could give a couple of tips on training, like running, getting faster. A lot of people emphasise volume in terms of it, and I know you don't really emphasise that. You got quite fast without doing much volume training. I wonder if you could speak a bit about that.
How should you train? My training tips I've learned from Lance Armstrong and some Kenyan runners. And what they do, the model all professional athletes do, is drugs, and more drugs. But we're not doing that. So how do they train? It's a lot of low intensity stuff to get your form good when you're running or you're spinning when you're cycling, and maybe a few minutes a week, 5 to 10 minutes a week where it's just all out, full gas. You know, I've trained with the Team Sky, went out with Richie Port and Philip Danyan. This January we went out riding and went out for a few days in a row, and then one day they did some intensity. But only 2 riders in the whole team did intensity, the rest just went cash. And they did like a 7-minute interval each, and they did 2 of them with like a half an hour recovery. But I know guys who aren't even that fit, and their coach gives them this like crazy workout, like 5 by 10 all out efforts. And I'm like, the pros don't even do that, you know. But often people get sold training programs that are way too intense, but people buy something and they want to get a workout for it. Like that Insanity or P90X or Sean T25, whatever. But basically it's just guys on steroids. What's the Insanity? David Horton, is it? And they're basically just guys on gear, which is fine. You can take gear if you want, but it's a bit misleading. If you're saying to your customers, this is how I got doing this program, you didn't. You're doing weights, you're doing steroids, which is fine, but be honest about it. But people want to buy something really intense. They want to do some crazy training and tell their friends at work, yeah, I did Insanity P90X last night, 2 hours. Oh, you're pretty hardcore. But it's just going to burn you out. So my secret to training is cycling's the best, because you can ride easy, you can ride to your cafe, you can ride to work, you can ride to the train station, get the train to work, whatever. Use your bicycle, just light, easy spinning, cruising around, go up a hill now and then, and do most of your training on the bicycle, light stuff, spinning around. Just use your bicycle as transport. And then your body gets fitter over time. That's what I did for years. I've never had a driver's license. So for people who don't have access to a bicycle because they might live in a city that's car friendly only, you know, do what you can do. But I'd say move to somewhere that's bicycle friendly, because the bicycle is like incredible. But then you might find once you become into cycling, You work out, hang on, this city isn't just car friendly, it's also bicycle city. I met some people the other day. I was eating this dinner with some Spanish people I just met, meat eaters, you know, drunk. Come over here, boy, you're on a bike. And they started talking to me, so I sat down with the Spanish guys. And they're like, you ride a bike, man, you're the champion. I would never ride a bike in Chiang Mai. Crazy. Drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette. Oh, it's so dangerous. I'm smiling, oh yeah, cool.
At the same time.
But they don't have the cycling mentality, you know. But I'm taking people, like groups of 30 or 40 around the city, cutting down streets, just stopping the traffic, no worries. So they don't have a cycling mindset. Once you cultivate that cycling mindset, then you start to see things differently. Just like with fruit. Most people think fruit's a snack, but all of us know we can have a meal of fruit. You know, we can have fruit all day if we want. So it's the same thing with cycling. The bicycle is something you ride in the gym. You don't ride it outside, or maybe you're racing. You don't ride a bike to work. That's like you're a nuisance on the road. No. You're getting fit. So cycling is my tip. That's the best way to get fitter, is using a bicycle, because running is good, but it takes years and years and years. It's a no fucks given cat again. That time of day.
What happened to the tail?
Oh, the tails, they're always short in Asia, generally. That's the breed. They're short tail.
Oh.
So that'd be my tip, is just do easy training, and then maybe 5 to 10 minutes a week. If you feel like it, push it a bit. Do some weights or some faster cycling. But just most of your training, 95%, should be really casual where you can talk the whole time.
So I actually made the mistake to overtrain for like 2 months, and got really fatigued, but didn't know that it was too much training, because I was like, oh, this is so healthy, I'm supposed to be so energetic, and so I was carb enough, but I just did intense training every day, like 2 hours and sprints. So my question is, once burnouted, what would be your advices to...
Just go back to the healthy diet and lifestyle. Go back to training where you still train, but you just go easy. A talking pace, like riding around. No sprints. Yeah. No high heart rate stuff. Just go to a level where you might be sweating, but you can still talk. None of these fad insanity programs or stuff like that. Just cycling.
Yeah. So
walking. Cycling and walking is the best.
How long would you say does it take to recover?
Depends on the person. You know, you're young. Do you have kids?
No.
No. And you're on holiday, so you have more energy to just relax and chill. For someone who's got 5 kids, single parent, and still trying to work, and they're like, 400 pounds, it's going to be a bit longer. You know, and they've been doing Adderall pills or speed pills for like 6 years to try and lose weight. It's going to be longer for them. Okay. So you're young, eating healthy, you're a lot closer to your goals than someone else. Okay. How long does it take? Depends on the person. But it'll take as long as it takes. It might be a month, it might be 2 years.
Yeah.
But for you, I'd say it would be a couple of months.
Okay.
And it's the mentality as well. A lot of people get sick or burnt out or chronic fatigue, and then they go, I've got chronic fatigue, and they lock it in. That's my identity. And then they carry it around everywhere they go. They go travelling, I've got chronic fatigue, I can't do that. It's like, hang on, just unlock it. Say, now I'm an athlete, I'm going to train smarter. And then all of a sudden you drop your identity. What we tell ourselves as identity, that's who we are. That's who we are. So I say I'm a cyclist. So when I see a bicycle, I'm like, this is transport. Some people see a bicycle as like a nuisance or whatever. I see a bike, I'm like, that's a transformative element. That's a machine to take me places. Or if you see yourself as a vegan, so when I walk into a restaurant, I'm a vegan, I go, what's plants here? What can I eat? I can eat a lot of stuff here. I'm a vegan. So if you have that identity, if you say I'm a recovering chronic fatigue person, that's like, I'd say I'm an athlete who trains smart. And then all of a sudden your identity changes. Your self-talk's everything. Today we went up the mountain, my tyre was a bit flat, and this bag was swinging around, and it bothered me for a little bit. And then Anthony was picking the pace up, and I'm sweating a lot, and I didn't have much of a warm-up, but my stomach was a bit tight, so I had a liter of water. But I just blocked those things out, and just breathed in, just relaxed, and just float up the mountain. And I just forgot about all the problems. And then I just went faster and faster and faster, until there's no one left. But if I focus on the swinging bag, or the flat tyre, or the creaking pedal, it would crack me.
Okay.
So yeah, we have to focus what we want to achieve.
So how about training early when you're chronically fatigued? Because the sleep is so important then to recover.
The rest is important more than sleep.
So then you do exercise better during the day.
Yeah, just get up in the morning at 5, 6, 7 a.m. and go out for a half an hour bike ride. Or you don't have to do exercise, you just ride your bike to work or ride to the markets. And you're still getting your lymphatic system pumped, you're still getting the blood flowing. You have to do something every day, unless you're in real pain, you can't, it's okay, but you have to walk every day or ride your bike every day. Just a little bit, maybe an hour a day, just at talking pace. Get a bit of sweat on your skin, a bit of glow. And that's the mistake people do, is they go travelling for a few months with no bicycle, and they might walk a bit, but it's pretty hard to walk in Thailand. I mean, I'm grateful I've got legs, but when you've got a backpack on, it's sweating, and you're just like, it's just hard. But when you're on a bicycle, you cool down, and it's like sit down walking, you've got a fan in front of your face, you know? When you're walking, it's like, when I do the walking tour in the morning, it's harder for me to do the 11 a.m. market tour than ride up down the mountain, really. So I get up the mountain, I'm getting a bit of breeze, I'm sweating a bit, but then I come down, it's nice and cool.
Yeah, the downhill is great.
Yeah. So you get to cool off, but the walking tour is just like, yes, it's full on. But so it's just about going easy, but being consistent and going every day. Unless you've got like a knee pain or a fever, then don't train. But if you don't have knee pain or injury or fever, train every day of your life, but easy.
That's good. I'm doing the right thing then.
Yeah.
So a last one, if you don't mind. So actually, I started to gain weight during the time I was overtraining. So can overtraining cause gain weight? Can
overtraining cause weight gain? For sure. If your cortisol levels go up, your body stores more fat and fluid, mostly fluid. Most people's excess weight is fluid. The body can store a lot of fluid. Who's ever seen someone get on antidepressants and just like, boom? Yeah, I've seen a lot of people get on antidepressants and they gain like almost 20 kilos, you know? It's all fluid.
How about looking at it like a starvation mode? Like it's a bit like eating too less.
Yeah, like if you train your body to run on less fuel, you can do that to an extent, but then once you get the fuel in again, then the body goes, well, we've been living on 1,500 calories a day, now it's 3,000, let's store the fat and fluid.
Yeah.
But then over time, the body works out and goes, hang on, oh, we're not in famine anymore, let's drop it again.
Yeah.
Because the body doesn't want to be too heavy for the knees. So it will put the weight up to balance the hormones out, bone density, and it will drop it down again, smooth it out. The body's very smart. We just have to get out of its way. And what people do is, I mean, Doug Graham recommends if you've got excess weight, just have cucumbers for dinner until you reach your goal weight. Doug says to one girl, eat 1,200 calories a day to reach your goal weight. I would put $100,000 on it. That girl will not last in this lifestyle. And even if she got to a goal weight, she wouldn't last in that. I put $100,000 on that. But that's Doug's old school thinking. So me and Doug agree on a lot of things, but we also disagree passionately on some others. So I don't recommend eating cucumbers for dinner. I recommend carving the fuck up and live hard next day. Do some stuff. Don't sit around going, oh, I had too much calories, I think. I don't know. It's like boring. Boring.
Okay, cheers.
And it, just go easy, go every day. Ride around, see things, explore. I met a guy in 2009, Kevin, in Malaysia. He's about 50, in good shape, eats a vegetarianish diet. But what I learned from him is he's got an adventure mindset. I would ask him, where do I go in Penang with Kevin? And he'd tell me all these streets. I'm like, how do you know all this, man? You don't have a Garmin, you don't have a map. How do you know all these streets? He goes, hey, Harley, every day I ride my bike somewhere new. I'll go down that street, I'll go down here. And I was like, wow, that's such a good mentality. You know? And he doesn't go, he wasn't even that fit. You know, we did a run together, he was out of breath, but he was pretty slim. He was just consistent riding around. So I thought that was a great mentality, just explore things. Be like a kid again, where you ride to the end of the suburb or whatever. Doesn't matter how fast you go, what time you do, whatever. As long as you're out there, spinning your legs, being a cyclist, that's all that matters. Map, which is maybe a kilometre. A kilometre I rode as a 10-year-old, I thought that's awesome. And it was for back then. Yeah, it was literally a kilometre, and I was just stoked on that. So it's about having that childhood mentality as an adult.
Yeah, cool.
Someone the other day went up the mountain and said, oh, I feel a bit depressed. I'm like, why is that? They're like, oh, you know, I'm not as fast as you guys. And I'm like, we've been riding a little bit longer than you. I said, no offence, but you're riding for like 4 days. This is your 4th time at the mountain. It's going to take you a few years to really be charging up here. So don't beat yourself up. Enjoy the view, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the sweat, enjoy the newfound, enjoy the blood nose or whatever. Just enjoy the experience and be patient and just consistent in your direction. If you try and get your goals done today, it's not going to happen. You can get daily goals done today, but not long-term goals. But that's what the fitness marketing world does. It's like 60-day, 30-day, 21-day, 7-day program. You know, boot camp, whatever. Every time I ride past the boot camp in Adelaide, it's full of people who are out of shape. And they're out of shape because they don't know how to train, they don't know how to eat. But these personal trainers take advantage of that ignorance. And like, well, you know, it's like a fat farm. It's like, it never works. What works is long-term lasting change. This lifestyle works. So I tell people, get out of the fads and stuff and just, you have to incorporate daily discipline. But make it fun. And have the mentality of the child. Like, it's like the puppy, I saw a puppy the other day, yesterday. Who's someone vlog with a dog biting me? Yeah. Was it today? Will I put it up? Or? The little puppy. Yeah, I could lose track. But this little puppy was just like biting my hand, you know, playing around. It was that puppy mentality. It was just so entertained by me. But an older dog might be just like, yeah, whatever. So often we lose that passion, that adventure mindset. So I tell people, bring it back into your life, you know. Just see the world through the eyes of a kid a bit, especially when it comes to fitness. Most people are like, you know, it's good to look at power meters and pace, and that's fantastic. They're tools to help us our goals. But at the end of the day, you've got to have a bit of a creative mindset and have fun with it. So when you go surfing as a kid or whatever, you catch your first wave, you're just like, yeah! You know, just that whole, bring that mindset back in. It's just a choice in the moment. You know?
Do you think this has proved itself popular enough to do every year? And do you ever see a point in the future where you think you would be too busy to give your time so freely as you do now?
Will this event get too big and will I be too busy?
Well, do you think it's popular enough so you would do it every year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Woodstock Fruit Festival, maybe 100 people for the first year. We've got almost 200 people here. So, yeah, we keep cranking. And it's just a great city for it.
And do you think that you ever get to a point where you're too busy?
I can't, because I don't have children. I'm not having children. I don't have a business. I make a living on YouTube, and I'll be an author soon. So it's just that YouTube lifestyle. That's the beauty of YouTube. It gives you like this crazy lifestyle. It's insane. It's insane. You know. I'm making about $2,500 a week right now, and I can do anything I want, pretty much. Oh. All my friends making that sort of money, they're like, I can spend as much time with the freely as I want. All my friends making that sort of money, they never see their partners. They see their partners at the end of the day and they're all both too stressed out or like tired to really do anything, connect. And then you go to bed at maybe 10 o'clock, have a few wines to settle down because you have so much caffeine to get the job done. And then you've got no energy for anything else, and then you wake up in the morning and just kiss them goodbye and see you later. So people spend like maybe an hour quality time with their spouses a week. Me and Freely, we're in our pockets every day, you know. Our offices are like next to each other. You can throw a banana at her. Yeah, we do that now and then. Play around. So, yeah, we're like brother and sister almost. So it's good to have a bit of a holiday. But YouTube's a powerful lifestyle. But too many people are too critical of themselves to really do well on it. Anyone can. Pay attention to what's trending on YouTube. It's great. You reach a lot of audience, you get paid really well, you have a real life of freedom.
You got the bracelets in the bag?
Yeah, I've got some bracelets in the bag.
I already did that bit out, don't worry.
If people want to wear a bracelet, I've got some today from the Mountain Women. They're free.
Cool.
Maybe next year we'll get some proper ones printed up. But this year, if you want one, go and get one. I guess we can wrap it up now. So the Q&A will be every day, 3 o'clock here. Even if I forget to put it on the Facebook events, it'll be every day, 3 o'clock here.
The market tour every day too?
The market tour every day at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Today I forgot to put it up, and 3 people turned up, and that was cool. But I realised I made a mistake by not putting it up. So every day, 7 a.m. bike ride from the Marina Hotel. Every day, 11 a.m. Marina Hotel market tour, and every day 3 p.m. question and answer here. About an hour. Done. So yeah, I'm going to go to the twins' house now. And there's a rice eating competition on. I bet a guy. Yes, you can. If you ask nicely, you can have one.
Can I please have one too?
Yeah. I'll put it on the grass
I'll
here.
line up behind you.
So,
Would you get
I bet someone $1,000 today
Would you get me one?
if they can eat more rice than me.
Fair enough.
Oh, really?
But you know, they're all.
And it has to be over 5,000 calories. Because someone was saying, oh, I can eat 5,000 calories of food a day, but I'd get fat. I don't do exercise. I'm not. If you can eat 5,000 calories of rice and eat more than me, I'll give you $1,000. So hopefully Peter's turned up.
Rice contest, right?
I can't eat 5,000 calories of rice. But he reckons he can. He's